Hello everyone, hope you are well. This is a video series about my experience applying for the UK spouse visa for my wife. In this video series, I will explain everything I went through to obtain the visa, including who is able to apply, the application process, the documents needed for both husband and wife, the costs involved, and next steps after getting visa. For background, I'm a UK citizen with British passport and my wife is a Pakistani citizen. I applied from the UK while she was in Pakistan on her behalf. After getting the visa, she moved to UK with me. I applied for the visa in February 2022 and the visa was granted in August 2022. The visa process is a long process and needs attention to detail, but I was able to do it on my own by making sure I fulfilled all the requirements. My advice is to watch this video series and do your own research to make sure you are up to date with the latest information. Who can apply? To apply for this visa, you must be British or Irish citizen, have settled in the UK, for example, indefinite leave to remain, settled status, or proof of permanent residence. In my example, I had a British passport, so I was a British citizen. So that's how I fulfilled that requirement. Next, we will speak about the documents needed and requirements. We start first with the spouse living in Pakistan. First, you need passport style photos. So these are the small square photos with a clear picture of their face. The lighting must be clear, just like in a passport. You must have printouts. I'd say make at least 3 photos because you'll need it for the later requirements. Secondly is the Pakistani passport. This is needed so that when the visa is approved, they will stamp the passport. Uh, Please ensure that passport is in date and is not due to expire. This is because visa can take up to 6 months if there are delays, and then when you go on the flight to UK, you'll need at least 6 months left on the passport. So, in my opinion, it's best to renew for peace of mind so that you don't have to worry about this when the time comes. Next is the TB test certificate. So TB is a tuberculosis. You must have the negative TB test, so no tuberculosis. You do the test at the specialist clinic who give you a certificate, and you need the passport photo from earlier on. And if you're pregnant, it's advised not to do this test. Next is the English test certificate. So the level they need, the minimum level is IELTS A1. Try to get this done early as it can take some time to get a test date because of high demand. Also, give yourself some time to take classes and practice so that you do well in the test. You take the test in the approved test center, and when you pass, they will give you a certificate. In the test, they ask you things about your house, what you do in the morning, what you do in the afternoon, what you do at night, what do you eat, just basic conversations. So it's good to practice with your spouse as well. That's the best way to um, pass this test. Furthermore, you'll also so so that's for the spouse in Pakistan. But for the spouse in UK, you'll need copies of the certificates I mentioned before. So you need copies of the TB test. You need copies of um, passport, um, with the photo page and the page with the passport number, and English test certificate. The passport must be in color and the copies must be clear and readable. Just for reference, just for explanations, one copy of each thing. It must be digital copies because later on we're going to upload the documents online. So it must be digital copies so they can scan, whoever's in Pakistan, the spouse in Pakistan can scan the documents and then send it to you via email or from WhatsApp. Now, this person in UK, what they will need is the English translation of marriage certificate, or in Pakistan it's called nikah nama, and it must be in Urdu and English, and must be official translation. You should do this whilst in Pakistan, in my opinion. When the nikah is happening, pay attention to what is being written in nikah nama. That means make sure that the spelling is correct and the date of birth is right and the names are right, because it's very difficult to change this once it's been completed. And for the nikah, just a word of advice: bring your Nadra card with you. That would be very important. You should find a place that specializes in English translation. I think there are places in Pakistan that can do that for you. I did mine in Pakistan and then brought the document with me to the UK. If you cannot find one, then you can bring the document with you to the UK and get it translated here, I believe. And then scan again and keep the digital copy for later on. Next is the proof of income. So the requirements are you must be earning at least £18,600. This is at the time I did this, they said you needed this for this amount of income for about 6 months. You have to show proof. I was asked to provide all payslips for 12 months and bank statement that corresponds to the payslips so they can see that the money was put into your account by your employer. That period started 12 months from when I submitted the visa application. So it might be a good idea for you to start downloading your payslips and bank statements. You know, get that done so that everything's ready. It might not be 12 months for you. It might be 6 months. It depends on what they would tell you, and they'll give you a checklist at the end so you can verify this. And when you do this, get the payslips and combine them into one PDF document, and do this for the bank statements too. Next, you need the letter from your employer. So whoever issued the payslips, the letter has to have the employment, so the job that you do, the gross annual salary, that means the salary before tax, how long the employment was, and the period over which the person has been paid the salary in their application. So if you've had the same salary, then it's just you've just been paid the same salary for the whole duration. And the type of employment, whether it's permanent, fixed contract, or agency. And the letter must be from your employer. Best place to ask for this letter is your HR department. They should be able to help you with this. Next is the employment contract. So this is the actual the copy of the contract you signed before you started the job. You should have this with you. If you don't, you can ask your HR department for this. And as I mentioned before, keep digital copies of all these documents. Next is a proof of British citizenship. Basically, this is passport. You'll need digital copy of the biodata page, basically the page where it has your photo and your details, and then the page above that as well. And also, you need proof of accommodation. So for me, I live with my parents, so to fulfill this requirement, I asked my mom and dad to write a letter explaining how many bedrooms the house are and that they own the house. Then to say that they're happy for me and my wife, and they mention the name of me and the main name of my wife, that they're happy for us to live in this house, and there's adequate space for both of them to live here. And then the letter was signed by my mom and dad. I know some people who did they did like an inspection where someone comes and checks your house. I didn't do that, but I know some people who did. Next is the proof of marriage. So obviously you have the nikah nama, which is the marriage certificate. So this is something that's not really specified, but it's very good to have. So it's clear that your marriage is legitimate, especially from Pakistan, because sometimes there's this reputation that there can be sham marriages. So these are additional things that will make your case stronger, in my opinion, and make it easier for the person who's looking at your case. So things like pictures of you and the spouse together on the wedding day, Mendi, Barat, Walima, whatever you do, and then pictures of you going outside to restaurants, to places and stuff, just showing that you're a couple and you live together when you were in Pakistan. And then also WhatsApp chats. So these are if you've spoken in English, if you've texted in English, then you can include this. It's good to have to show that it's a legitimate marriage. And there's also money transfers. So if you did send money to your wife, you just keep the records of this. It's good to show them, so that they know that there's a relationship going on. Have these as screenshots, and you can convert to PDF. So you have one PDF file for all the money transfers, one file for all the pictures, and one for the WhatsApp chats. And then also is a proof of address. So I gave my UK driving license. If you don't have license, then you can give the UK bank statement, because that's classed as proof of address. And just some things before doing the application. So the way the application works is you're going to fill in the application on behalf of the applicant. The applicant is your spouse in Pakistan. So either you can fill in as if you are them, so you write their name and number, or they can do it themselves. In my experience, I did it on behalf of the applicant. Have an email address that both of you can access, because they'll be sending you things via email. So it's important that not only you can access it, but the person in Pakistan can also access it as well. Make sure the person, your spouse in Pakistan, has a mobile number, and they'll be sending a text message, when the visa is ready. So that's important that you have that. And just note that in the application process, in the initial application process, you're not uploading any documents yet. The upload will happen once you book the visa appointment for your spouse in Pakistan. You'll also be asked for spouse details, passport number, and the details for their parents, but that should only be name and date of birth. Also, you'll need the names of the people living in your house, for the person in the UK, with date of birth and passport number. And I'd say have all documents ready before application, just to make the process quicker and smoother. They'll ask you for collection point for biometric residence permit. Normally it's a post office. Uh, Select the one that's convenient for you, and then keep that place in mind. You'll need it later on when your spouse comes to the UK. So doing the application, so I applied from outside the UK in 2022. So when you go on the government website for UK spouse visa, I selected the option apply from outside the UK. And application fee was 374,550 rupees. This is because it was they charged in rupees and then converted it into pounds, and the surcharge fee was 460,378 rupees. The VFS fees were about £148. So total in today's rate, it's about 3,660 pounds. Obviously, the rate can change and go up and down. So today's rate was that much, but in 2022, I paid more than this. Uh, once you um, Once you've done the application, you'll be given a checklist of documents emailed to you. So as I mentioned before, that would tell you how many months for payslips you need, what evidence you need as well. Um, so it's important, make sure you go through that. You sign up for VFS, that's the um, visa company, and make sure you sign up with the same email address. And also you book appointment with the visa center. And make sure the spouse in Pakistan prints the checklist, fills it out, and they'll need to bring it with them when they go to the appointment. book the appointment and make sure you digitally upload the documents before the day of the appointment. You should, because you have to do it before the appointment. So you should have documents ready, as I advised before. So you should be ready to do this as soon as possible. You have the option to use priority service. This is for the visa application center. This is ideal if your spouse in Pakistan doesn't want to line up at the visa center. So that's optional, but make sure you do select to digitally upload the documents. So when you go to the appointment, be on time, bring passport and identity card. You will have paid for everything before, so there isn't anything you should pay for when you go there. Bring document checklist signed and completed. They'll take your the spouse in Pakistan. They'll take their passport and give it back to them upon the decision of the application. There is an option to keep the passport when you book the appointment, but it's not really advised if they're not going to fly anywhere, you know, before the visa decision. And then after the appointment, just be patient, have hope, because sometime for me it took 6 months. It was due to what was happening in Ukraine. I think that delayed it, but normally they say it's 3 months for the decision. So hopefully, it doesn't take 6 months for you. Hopefully, it takes shorter than that. Um, Also check the emails, text messages. That's where you'll get the correspondence. And when decision is made, you'll get email. You'll also get text message. The email will be email subject notification from VFS Global, and inside it will say processed visa application for GWF reference number was collected from the UK Visa Application Centre. That means it's ready. Then you go and collect your passport. And when you get the passport, you check that should have the spouse photo and name in the empty pages at the back. It should have like an expiry date as well, and that shows that you've got the visa. And when you go to the UK, bring the TB test certificate with you. Bring the passport, obviously. Um, Upon arrival, show them that photo, that the visa people stamped. Um, and then the immigration officers will ask spouse questions about why they're here. They'll ask, what are you here for? You just say you just come to live with your spouse who lives in the UK, and they'll ask questions about what your spouse does for a living and stuff like that. But, hopefully that should be a quick process, and you should meet them at the airport. And then last thing is within 10 days, uh, collect your biometric residence permit from the post office that you mentioned in the application. So that's why I said earlier on, make a note of the collection point. Make sure you collect it because you have to collect it within 10 days, and they don't remind you. It's something that you have to remember yourself. So that's basically the last step. So that's an overview of what I went through when doing the visa application. Um, yeah, as long as you have the documents ready, then it should be fine. It's just not. It's a You have to pay attention to detail, but I think it can be done on your own. So what I would say is share this video with your friends and family. Like and subscribe as well. If you have any requests, let me know in the comments. What I would say is go through this again. Also check the government website because I did this in 2022. Things may have changed over the years, so that's really important that you do your own research as well. So hopefully, best of luck if you're going to do this application, and thank you for taking the time to watch the video.